Patricia Hayward is suing her niece, Patricia Green, for unpaid rent, late fees, and utility bills. The defendant says she couldn't afford to pay.
Miss Hayward, this is your niece.
Yes.
Is it your sister's daughter?
No, this is my ex-husband's niece.
How long have you known her?
I've known her since 1973.
According to your complaint, your niece has had some difficulty in the past, but you allowed her to move in with you because she needed a place to stay.
Correct.
The agreement was that she pay rent. How much rent were you supposed to pay?
$500.
$500 a month. And what did that include, Miss Green?
It just said for rent. I have the rental agreement.
Can I see it, please? You agreed to pay my rent on the 3rd of each month. This is the rental agreement you gave me, right? It doesn't say what amount you're going to pay. How could you do a rental agreement without the amount of rent?
She didn't write it down. This is what she gave me.
This is what you signed. Do you have another renter's agreement?
This is it.
People really need a form for rental agreements. I should really do that. It would help people. She wrote the $500 in afterwards. You wrote the $500
We
in
wrote
afterwards.
the 5 in after she signed it. We were both sitting there and we said, oh, she's the one that brought up,
Listen
Trisha's
to
the one
me.
that brought up.
Her copy doesn't have 500.
I know. I
All
do
right,
know that.
Fine. So let's say we all
Okay.
agree it's
Okay,
$500 a month rent. This is what it's about. She moved out. She didn't pay you rent. You want the rent. You threw her out because she stopped paying rent. So you want her to pay rent and utilities. Forget utilities because your agreement doesn't provide for utilities. $500 a month rent. Did you pay rent each month that you were there?
Yes, I did.
When did you move in?
September of '06.
When did you move out?
February 1st of '08.
Why?
Because I was locked out.
You were locked out because you didn't do what?
I got laid off and wasn't able to come up with the rent
Well, so then the answer is you didn't pay rent.
for the last month,
Which month?
November. Well, I paid in November and December. I didn't pay.
You didn't pay in December and you didn't pay in January.
Correct.
So that's 2 months you
But
didn't pay.
I was making payments on it while I didn't have a job. I paid $300 out of my last check, and I sold my belongings and got money to pay for that, and I cleaned the restroom. I mean, I was trying to pay it off.
Clean the restroom. I'm just asking you, the last rent that you paid, you say, was in November?
Yes, but it was $500. So really, I only owed 1 month.
Well, that's what you're supposed to pay, $500. If you paid $500 in November, then you owe
Exactly.
December and January. And
No,
you were kicked out February 1st.
I paid all November.
I understand that, but you didn't pay December, which is a whole month.
Right.
And January, which is a whole month.
Correct. But
So
I
then-
paid for December then. I was making payments.
When did she make her last rent payment to you?
She didn't pay December, January, and she left in February.
So 2 months.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yes.
Well, that's what it appears she didn't pay. So you lost your job.
Yeah.
And that's why you didn't pay.
Correct.
Do you have a job now?
Yes, I do.
Great. You owe her $1,000.
Fine.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000.
Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Your
That's
Honor.
all.
19-year-old Lila Zamani is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old Logan Winborn, for an unpaid loan for bail and for urinating on her laptop while sleepwalking.
Ms. Zamani, the defendant was your boyfriend. It is your claim that he owes you money for 2 things. First, that he damaged your laptop computer, and second, that you bailed him out of jail and he did not return the bail money to you, as agreed. Mr. Winborn says that he never agreed to return the bail money to you and that he did not damage the computer, right?
Yeah.
You do understand, Mr. Winborn, you're going to be at least partially sorry that you came here today.
Right.
You do understand that.
Yeah, I understand that.
I just like everybody to be prepared. You know, I don't like to ambush you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lila Zamani says ex-boyfriend Logan Winborn owes for a loan for bail money and the cost to replace a laptop computer.
Let's deal with the easy things first, please. When did she bail you out of jail and for what?
It was probably around 7 months ago.
When?
August 31st.
Were you living together at the time?
No, we weren't.
For?
Disorderly conduct. We got in an argument, and I went down to...
The two of you got into an
yeah.
argument.
The neighbors called the police. The police showed up. I was kind of throwing a fit in the street, and they took me to jail.
What do you mean you were throwing a fit in the street?
I was just kind of... I was stopping traffic and stuff.
Were you on drugs?
I was, I was drinking, so...
Was this the first time you were arrested?
No, I've been arrested a few times before.
For what?
For disorderly conduct, mostly.
You drink or you use drugs?
I used drugs, and I did drink.
Okay. Did you call Miss Zamani from jail?
Yes, I did.
What did you say to her?
I asked if she could bail me out
And she did? And how much did it cost you?
$2,932.
Did you go to court on the date that you were supposed to, Mr.
Yes, I did.
Winborn?
Yeah.
And was that case resolved?
Yes, it was. All the charges were dropped.
Did you get your bail back?
Yes, I did. At that time...
Just a second. I'll ask questions. Don't editorialize.
Sure.
Did you get it back in a check?
Yeah, I got it back in a check.
What did you do with it?
I got my own place to stay.
You weren't together to begin with at the time you called her for the bail.
At that time, we were planning on moving in with each other.
You weren't together with her at the time, according to you.
Well, this is what kind of broke us up, is the money is what the arguments were beginning to be about. So we weren't together at the time that I got the money back.
So why didn't you give her the money? It wasn't your money, it was hers.
Because I was planning on moving in, and that didn't happen because
Do you understand why you're going to get a little bit humiliated here today, sir?
Yeah.
You understand? Because you're going to give me an answer and you're going to sound like a moron. A big-time moron.
Do you want me to continue with the story?
No.
No? Okay.
So I am to understand that she paid your bail, almost $3,000. You resolved your case, you got a check for the bail, and you didn't give her the money.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm waiting for an excuse that Bird can understand.
Well, the check did come back in my name, although that's not an excuse. But I need a place to live. I'd rather be in jail than to be
Go to a shelter.
homeless. You know what I mean?
Go to a shelter.
Shelter.
Yeah, go to a shelter. How old are you?
21.
21. You have parents?
Yeah, they live down Southern California. So.
I don't care where they live. You have parents. Do they hate you?
Not extremely.
Not extremely. That's an answer. Not extremely. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I do.
How old are they?
32 and 23.
Do they hate you?
No, they don't.
So you have options. Your options aren't to steal from Miss Zamani. That's not an option. The money was hers. She laid it out. She was to get it back. So far we have $2,932. Now you can tell me about this nonsense about the computer.
Well, I woke up one morning.
What morning?
A week before May 14th, and the computer was drenched in a liquid, and Logan had spent the night, and I had to let it air dry for a few days, and I took it to a computer shop, and they said it would cost more to fix the computer than to buy a new one.
Well, so how do you know he did it?
He has a history of watering things in his sleep.
What do you mean watering? You mean he urinates on things?
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Manny, listen to me. If this happened in May and you were still looking at him in August, that's your problem. I mean, if you say that he has a history because he uses drugs, abuses alcohol, so he doesn't know what he's doing, and he waters the world while he's under the influence, you stayed with him. It's almost like assumption of risk. But he owes you for bail. That he owes you for. Anything else you want to say to me, Mr. Winborn?
I've only really watered tomato plants and trees.
Mr. Winborn, I don't find you amusing. I think that there's a reason your parents don't like you. I have enough children. I have enough children. I always love them. Sometimes I like them more than other times, right? I don't like you at all. So I'm really quite sympathetic with your parents because they probably invested a great deal of time and effort in you. And look what they got. Judgment for the plaintiff, and that's all. Out!
Christine Clark says her former friend, Breon Hawkins, owes for a loan, damage to her home, and a false arrest.
Ms. Clark, the defendant was a friend of yours who you allowed to move into your home. And it is your claim that you made a loan to him to put it as a down payment on a car of $1,000. Things turned sour in the home and you wanted him to leave. You claimed that he damaged your property by breaking down the door and the door frame. And in addition, you claimed that he had you falsely arrested. Mr. Hawkins says that there was no loan. He says that you tried to lock him out of the apartment, which is why he damaged the door. And as far as the false arrest charge is concerned, he says that you and Mr. Hawkins, as well as your boyfriend, were arrested that day. When did he move in with you and why?
He moved in with me in September of 2008. At the time, he was living with his best friend's parents, and he basically told me that he needed to move out of the home and he had nowhere to go.
How did you know him?
I met him through a mutual friend of ours.
How long ago?
In June 2008.
Why would you let him move into your house?
We befriended each other. We started hanging out. He seemed like a really nice guy at the time, a really sincere, sweet guy. And out the kindness of my heart, I allowed him to stay at my home. He slept on my couch.
Odd.
Right.
Now tell me about this $1,000 that you gave him.
In April of 2009, he approached me and asked me if he can borrow $1,000 from me because he needed a car. At the moment, I didn't actually give him the money, but 2 weeks in, I actually ended up giving him money. I have paperwork here that I went to the bank and I withdrew $1,000 out of my account.
Just a second. Tell me why you gave him the money after 2 weeks.
He needed a car. He needed another car. The car that he had was breaking down. He didn't want to pay for it to get service, and he needed to get back and forth to work.
Where was he working?
He was working at St. John Hospital in Santa Monica.
Doing what?
A lift associate for the lift team. So it's not like it's not like I just
What were you
gave him-
doing?
I'm a lift team member. I lift and turn patients.
Still working there?
Yes.
So you needed a car to get back and forth to work?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I have the documents here and saying that I did.
He doesn't deny that you gave him
Okay.
$1,000. He just says there was no expectation of
We
being
had
repaid.
a agreement that he promised to pay me back $300 a month for the next 4 months, and the payments were going to start actually on May 17th, the actual day that he came to my home and damaged my home. That was the day that the first payment was supposed to be started. No such payment was received at that moment.
Okay, let's deal with the car.
Okay, where do you want me to start?
You needed a car.
I needed a car, which is true. She did give me the $1,000, but it wasn't for me to pay her back. It was.
Your Honor, that's a lie.
If you interrupt again, and I do this, if you interrupt him again, I'm dismissing your case. Do you understand?
Yes.
I gave you an opportunity to speak. Now it's his turn. Got it?
Yes.
Tell me the circumstances, sir. Tell me what you said to her, what she said to you. That's what I want to hear.
First, I asked, can I borrow $1,000?
Okay, can I, just a second, can I borrow $1,000?
Yes.
Okay.
And she
said?
She was reluctant to give it to me because she's like, I don't think you're going to pay me back. And I said, okay, I'll pay you back. She was like, let's write a contract. She didn't write the contract out. So then 2 weeks passed, and then she offered, like, sex.
No, don't tell me offered like. I want you to tell me what she said, Mr. Hawkins.
Basically, I give you the $1,000 if we continue to have sex with each other.
Okay.
And I did it. I had sex with her before, so I don't see would it be a difference to not have sex and do it this time. I haven't been having sex with her since December. This is now April, and like she had tried to come on to me, and I like reject her.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm just saying I reject her.
You rejected. You stayed on the couch.
Yes.
You owe her $1,000, Mr. Hawkins. Very good. All right. Quiet.
Excuse me?
That's what you said. Can I borrow $1,000? And she said, I'm reluctant. You said, I'll pay you back. And you said, I'm reluctant. And then 2 weeks later, she gave you the money. Now, let's hear what happened on May 17th.
Okay, on May 17th, I approached him for the first payment of the money. He basically got on my face and told me that he wasn't going to give me anything. He didn't owe me any type of money. I was on the phone at the time.
You want to lose? Fast?
I was on the phone at the time with another friend of mine, and a friend of mine heard the commotion going on.
Don't tell me what the friend heard.
I went to pick up the friend because at this point I was afraid for my life. I picked up the friend, and we came back to my apartment. I sat outside, and I called the police. I have phone records here that I showed that I called
the police for.
Because he was threatening me at that point, the reason why I left.
Just a second. You left.
I left.
He was threatening you. Tell me what he was saying to you.
That he runs this ish, and he was gonna hit me, and if he can't, by law, he lives there now. I can't do anything to get him out. He's not going anywhere. He was gonna hit me and vandalize my car.
No, I don't believe you said that.
Oh, he did.
No, I don't believe you said that. I believe that he said he's not moving anywhere because he lives there now. And then you left. You left and you came back with a friend.
Right, and I said,
what did you say when you came back with a friend?
Nothing. We sat outside the car, and I called the police at that point. I sat outside and I called the police because I needed him out of my apartment at that point because he threatened to hit me. That's the reason I left.
Let me explain something to you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he threatened to hit you. But you called the police and you tried to get him out of the apartment. Just answer my question.
Right, yes.
Police came and they must have told you that...
He fled the scene.
Just a second. Did the police tell you that he was a tenant in your apartment?
Yes.
And that you couldn't get him out?
Right.
So what did you do?
I went inside. Actually, before I went inside, he came with the young lady that he's brought to court now. After he fled the scene, he came back with the young lady in the car, and I told the police at that point.
Well, he fled. Did you flee the apartment?
I fled to get help.
Fled.
I was afraid for my life at that point.
Then
Judge.
you should have fled
I
and
was
gone
really
to the
afraid.
It's Clark. Don't play. If you fled and were afraid for your life, you go to the police station. You don't go pick up a friend. That's what you do if you are afraid for your life. You don't come back with somebody who's not in authority.
Okay.
Okay? So let's not play with each other. There are things that I believe and there are things that I don't believe.
Okay.
Right? Because it's based on common sense and my years on this earth. Now, he left and then he came back with this young lady.
Yes.
And what happened?
At that point, when I was still talking to police, I told the police that he came back with the young lady. They did nothing about it.
Right. Because they said he's allowed to be there. Because he's a tenant.
They didn't say that.
Well,
they just,
but that's what I'm telling you, and that's what you knew from before. Go ahead.
So at 4 o'clock in the morning, she started playing on my phone. She called me.
Just a second. Was he still in the apartment?
No, he left altogether.
He left. They both then left.
They both left, correct.
Okay. And then what did you do?
I went inside, and at that point, I started watching TV. I finally fell asleep around 3:30 or 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, they started playing on my phone. I turned my phone off.
Just a second. Did you lock the door?
I locked the door.
Did you double bolt it from inside?
I locked the top locks.
So that means that he could not get in?
He can get in. He had a key.
No.
He has the key. He had the key to the apartment. He stayed there. He has a key.
Go ahead.
I only had a key to the bar door. I didn't have a key to the wooden door. So that's how she locked me out.
Okay, that's what I assumed.
Okay.
So you locked him out. Hey, Miss Clark, don't play with me. So you locked him out.
I locked the door.
You
Judge,
locked him
I was afraid for my
out.
life. He threatened me.
Listen, Miss Clark, just answer my questions, madam. You locked him out. The police had already told you that you had no right to lock him out, but you locked him out and he broke the door down. Is that what happened?
Yes. He came.
Is that what?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
He can do that.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, he
can
kicked
do
in the
that.
door with this young lady here at
He
5
can
in the
do
morning.
it.
Why is he kicking the door in
He
at
can
5 in the morning?
Listen to me.
At that point, I was very afraid for my life, Judge.
Well, I don't care
was
whether you were
very afraid for my
Miss
life.
Clark, hey, I don't care whether you were afraid for your life. You locked the door. They tried to call you. You turned your phone off.
No,
and
that's
he broke
not the
the
reason
door
she was
down.
calling
Miss
me.
Clark, listen to me carefully. He has the right to do that. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. You got your $1,000, but you had no right to do what you did. The police already told you had no right to keep him out, so you took the law into your own hands and you locked him out. And he has the right to go into his place of abode, which is where he was living with you for a long time. And he broke down the door because you had no right to lock him out.
I understand that, Judge, but at the same time, it doesn't take him to come to my home at 5 in the morning. I have small children living with me. Why is he coming to my home at 5 in the morning and kicking in my door?
Listen to me.
I'm afraid for my life at that point.
Listen
and
to
he's
me.
coming with someone
You're trying
to
to
hit
talk
me?
over me. That's not going to happen. I tried to explain it to you. The police tried to explain it to you. You didn't like their answer, and you don't like mine.
Judge, I have pictures of the damages that he done to my apartment here.
That's your problem.
When he kicked in the door, he damaged my coffee room table. He broke the table.
Then you shouldn't have locked the door. The next day, you go to court and you try to have him evicted for whatever reason.
I actually got a restraining order because I was falsely arrested.
That's what
I
you
was
have
falsely
to do.
arrested, and I have my witness here that can attest to that. When I called the police, they came back out and he claimed that I hit him and he put me in jail. So he falsely arrested me on battery charges and as a lie because I have paperwork here also saying that no charges were filed against me. So in the midst of me being nice and helping him out, I get suckered in the end. I lose all this money in the end because I tried to help this gentleman out here.
I want to tell you something. You have children who live with you?
Yes, I do.
You don't bring somebody into your house that you've known 3 months.
I know. I learned my
Just a
lesson
second.
now.
Well, now you learn your lesson better. Because if there wasn't some bizarre reason for bringing him into your house after 3 months to expose him to your 2 children, bizarre reason that I don't even want to get into right now. You don't do that if you're a responsible adult and a responsible parent.
Judge, I go to work every day.
Miss
every
Clark,
day.
you made a mistake.
Yes, you're right. I made a mistake.
Acknowledge
I do.
your mistake.
I did.
And you also, if you're a hardworking lady
did.
and have 2 children that you're supporting, you don't lend somebody who's a couch sleeper $1,000 of your hard-earned money.
I learned my lesson.
Well, now you're going to learn a better lesson. You get your money back, but the rest of it is your problem. You had no right to lock him out of the place where he had been living for half a year. You owe her the $1,000 for the car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Damian Ibarra says that foster aunt and uncle, Martha and Juan Hernandez, scammed him for over $4,000.
Mr. Ibarra, how old are you, sir?
22.
And what kind of work do you do?
I'm actually disabled right now, but I'm an EMT.
When was the last time you worked, Mr. Ibarra?
11/8 of 07.
And what kind of work were you doing then?
I was working on an ambulance as an EMT.
Did you become disabled on your job?
Yes.
Your lawsuit alleges that these people, who you refer to as a foster aunt and uncle, borrowed money from you and did not return it. Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez say that the money that they acknowledged that they took from you was for rent that you owed them. So can you tell me, Mr. Ibarra, how you know these people?
Basically, my foster parents, who I grew up with off and on, these are their cousins, basically. Well, you know, this is...
So you knew them through your foster parents?
Yes, I did.
How old were you when you left your foster parents' home?
I was about 16 years old.
Did you ever live with Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez?
Yes.
When?
Between January and February of 2008 for 2 months.
And where did you go after you left them?
I moved in with Elsie Vergara here.
And who is she?
She's basically my landlord.
So you moved into her home?
Yes.
And where were you living prior to January of 08?
I was living in South Central Los Angeles.
With whom?
By myself.
Okay. Tell me about the money that you gave to Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez.
Okay. First of all, there was $1,936 that I had sent in. At the time, I didn't have an account of my own because I messed up. I had problems. And I had it sent into their business account.
What sent into their
my tax refund.
And when was that put in their account?
That was put in April, I believe April 14th.
All right, let's get to that money, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez. You acknowledge your account in April.
Yes.
What was it put into your account for?
To pay that rent that he owed me from December through April.
He didn't live with you in April.
He did.
No, he didn't. He didn't live with you in April.
He did live in April with me, Judge Judy.
Really?
None of that is true.
Yes. He moved in the middle of June to his friend's house.
And how much rent were you charging him?
Actually, he's supposed to rent a room for $480, but he only paid me partial rent, which it was $300 even, and paid me until February the other part of the money. It was $180 that he paid me.
Not true.
But in December, when I went to check the house, he was living in the master room, and I don't know why, because he just moved in without my authorization. He didn't pay me, and he stayed there since, until June, the middle of June.
None of that is true, ma'am.
Stand up, please. Tell me your name.
Not one word of it.
My name is Elsie Vergara. I'm his landlord. He's living in my house right now.
When did he move into your house?
He moved in February 2008, the 28th, to be exact. And I had the contract for that also.
You have the contract?
Yes.
I'd like to see it, please.
Take that out. Right here. And all the check stubs and every single payment he has made since then is also there.
You have any proof that he lived in your house in April, May, and June?
I have only my papers because he is a family. I will never give him anything.
My question is, do you have any proof that he lived in your house April, May, and June?
No.
Well, then you owe him $1,936 so far. What other money did you give them?
After this, I mean, I was very angry. I'm going to get to it quick, by the way. I just need to tell you a little something. I was very angry, of course, because they did this without my authorization. They took out my money, and I was calling the IRS constantly, asking where my return was, and they were telling me that I should have received it.
I got you.
And anyways,
they used your money,
right, but
without permission.
They
shouldn't have.
They came to me later on asking me for more money so that they can finish a $16,000 job that they said they were going to do, and that they were going to pay me all of my money with interest if I lent them $3,000 more.
Now, where would you get this money from?
I have a copy here of my scholarship that I cashed, and I paid to them. I know it's very stupid of me to do this, but they came to me.
Can I see the proof of that, please?
They came to me asking for this money to finish the job, to pay me the money.
Why did you go to him asking him for more money?
I didn't ask him for no money. He's lying, Your Honor.
He's a liar. Just
he's
one
a
second.
liar.
Just a second. Up is what you're telling me that you never took, because I have check with your signature on it. Are you telling me that you never took any other money from him to complete a job other than the tax return? Are you telling me that you never took any other money from him?
I never took any money from him, Your Honor. He's lying. He's making all this because he wants money. He lives from people.
Just a second.
He's been faking what he has.
Hey.
That's a lie, man, but I also have here bank statements.
I want you just to show me a check.
That's just the check that I cashed for my scholarship, man.
Okay.
And,
show me where you gave them money.
Okay.
It's over there.
Oh,
no, this just says withdrawal.
Right. This is all I have. I have documentation of all of it.
No, you don't have documentation of anything.
Well, I have it all documented down every time because they refused to sign a contract because it was family, they were saying.
Mr. Ibarra, I can't help you with that, sir. You have different withdrawals on different dates, $200.
Those are all, I'm sorry, man.
All I want you to do is show me proof that you gave them any of this other money. The ninth, definitely yours. But you show me that you gave them any other money. This is not proof.
I don't.
Well, then how am I supposed to make that determination?
You know what, ma'am? She was present for every time they came over to ask for money.
What?
And that I gave them money.
That's a lie.
She was present there because she didn't trust them in her house.
Oh, my God.
And even when the contract was made between me and them, well, the verbal contract between me and them, and I had told them flat out, I was very, very mad that I didn't want to give them one more penny because they had already stolen my money for my taxes. They were begging me, saying they were going to get a $16,000 job and that they were going to pay me with interest, and that to just lend them $3,000 more because they knew, them being family and us being close at the time,
They weren't close at the time. They had already taken your money.
But they had already known because of their other family that I had gotten my scholarships and everything. So they came over asking for that, and I told them I'll see what I can do.
Mr.
And
Ibarra, you have a problem, sir. Now, you had a bank account, and all you had to do was give them checks. Then we would have no problem. You didn't do that.
They needed the money immediately.
No. Sorry. I don't buy it. Mr. Ibarra.
I mean, I'm not lying
Put your
to you,
hand
ma'am,
down.
honestly. I don't even pay her with checks. I pay with cash.
Mr. Ibarra, you're a very smart young man. These are people who, according to you, had already scammed you, correct?
Yes.
Well,
I was stupid. I mean, they were my family, close. To be honest with you, ma'am, one second.
Once family scams you, did you ever hear the expression, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me?
Right.
Right.
Can I just have 1 second, man, please? When I relent them the money, it was right after the time that they had taken the taxes, and I was still contacting the IRS for quite some time, which I have documented here, and they were telling me that to give it a little more time, that sometimes these things take time.
When were you finally notified by IRS? Just a second. When were you notified by IRS that your refund check into their account?
To be honest with you, ma'am, they never notified me that they took the money out.
When did IRS notify you?
This was at about
Give me the month.
This was in June, the same month that I began lending.
You have withdrawals made in June 30th,
yes.
June 25th, July 7th, and July 8th.
Yes.
So you already knew that they had appropriated your money.
It was right after that.
I can't help you, Mr. Ibarra, with regard to the other money.
1 second, man, please. I mean, they were giving me the runaround, telling me they hadn't got it. And when I finally found out that they had got it, because the IRS finally told me in June.
Well, I got that. That's
right.
Exactly
when they finally told me all of that was when I already had begun lending them the money, and I kind of felt like I'm not going to get any of my money. I got to at least lend them it to do the job so that they can pay me.
And you're telling me that after all of that, you gave them more money, knowing they had lied, scammed you, just as lied, scammed you, stolen your money, and with this very, very careful lady there, you gave them more money. Because most of the money, yes, you did. That's what it says here.
Not yet. I didn't know those things yet.
Yes, you did, according to you.
No.
Mr.
If you
Ibarra,
have there, I started withdrawing it in June 23rd.
Mr. Ibarra, I cannot help you with that money.
Ma'am, please, 1 second. Let me explain myself a little bit further.
You explained yourself,
No,
Mr.
seriously,
Ibarra.
honestly. I mean,
you explained yourself,
the whole thing
Mr.
is, though, I have not explained myself. The whole thing is that they were very, very close to me. They're the only family I have left, and I didn't want to lose them, okay? So I was being very, very naive. She was trying to knock some sense into me, and I really, really believed that they were paying me. They told me no later than the next month, and so I was lending them the more money because I figured if they didn't have the money because they do cabinetry, I have seen them do $20,000 jobs, and so it didn't seem far-fetched to me at all.
You want to answer him, Ms. Hernandez? Don't look at paper. You want to answer him?
He's lying all this time. He's lying. We didn't owe him a single dime.
No, I didn't ask you whether you owed him a single dime. I asked you whether he gave you any money in June or July.
He didn't give me no money at all. He owes me money because he came to my husband asking for money 3 times.
When?
In January, he came and asked him money. And in February, he only gave me partial rent.
Never. I'm not talking about rent. Forget about rent. Stop playing with rent. I asked you very simply, did he give you any money?
He didn't give me
Who are you?
Her daughter.
Get up. Over there. Did Mr. Ibarra give your parents any money in June or July of 2008 that you know about?
No.
Sit. You, up. What kind of work do you do?
Cabinets.
How are you related to him?
That's my dad.
Good. Stand there. How long have you been working for your father?
I've been working off and on because I travel a lot.
How long have you been working for your father?
Since 2003.
Very good. In 2008, did your family have a very big cabinet job? Look at me. 2008, did your family have a very big cabinet job?
No.
Nothing in 2008.
They did have, but not a big one.
What kind of cabinet job did they have in 2008?
Well, we got stuck with the same job because of construction change of order.
Explain that to me.
During the process.
What process?
Because I guess the inspector didn't pass the job, and we were stuck with all the merchandise inside the shop.
What merchandise?
The owner's merchandise, the one we were working for.
So the job that you did was not passed by the inspectors?
Lies.
Hey! I'm just going to dismiss your case. Do you understand? The job that your father did not pass inspection, and you were stuck with what merchandise?
Well, our job wasn't even done yet because the other job before that one wasn't done yet. So.
So that you couldn't use because the other part of the job didn't pass inspection. Is that
Yes.
what happened, Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
So you had all this cabinetry that you had to pay for. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm speaking to you. Answer.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was that cabinetry? Look at me. How much was it?
It was during the whole year. It was.
No, in the middle of the year, around June.
I wasn't there around June. I left.
When?
I left around that time.
Then right before you left. How much did they owe on the cabinets?
We didn't owe nothing.
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 So then explain what the financial problem was.
The job was frozen, and so I left to go do a job in Arizona. I came back, and
so there was no work for you.
No.
You left because
that was frozen.
You left in June. Put your hand down. I'm getting there. Shut up. You left in June because there was no work for you with your father. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So your father wasn't working either. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Now you can sit. Now I believe you. Sit! You didn't have to say a thing. But now I'll ask you. Now it makes my job much easier to believe you. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Very good. Were you ever present when he gave them money?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have to know.
That's a lie. That's a lie, Your Honor.
No, you're a liar. No, you're a liar.
I have my papers
No, you're,
here.
You're a liar. I'm telling you, you're a liar. He just explained to me what happened and why you needed the money in June. Your son just explained it to me.
I didn't need no money,
Judging for the plaintiff and the amount of $4,800.
I didn't present my evidence. You didn't present.
Please excuse me, step out.
Kenny Loud says neighbors Keith and Tammy Cavanis owe for the return of 2 dirt bikes. The defendants are countersuing for harassment and defamation of character.
Miss Loud, you and the defendant were neighbors. You purchased 2 dirt bikes at some point, and then according to your complaint, you and your husband separated. You couldn't maintain the payments on the bikes, so you sold them to your neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
And they acknowledged that you did, in fact, sell them to them, and the price for the 2 bikes was, I believe, $1,800. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You made only $300 worth of payments, is that right?
Yes,
3
ma'am.
payments of $100 each.
Yes, ma'am.
And your last payment was in February?
Yes, ma'am.
She wants her money. Do you have a defense?
We attempted to make the payment, and she refused it.
Show me.
Here's the return. That's the receipt for the money, or the certified letter, and that's where they refused it and sent it back. We called her.
March 23rd. When was your payment due?
On the 15th.
Of
we
what?
called her on March 15th. So she sent us a text on March 14th, and we had gone out of town and we had forgotten about it. So we called her and told her we were out of town and asked if it would be okay if we paid it on the 20th when we returned. And if not, my nephew had access to our funds, and he could bring it down to her right then because it's only a few houses down. And she said, no, it's okay, wait when you return on the 20th. And then she went on, started talking about other issues.
Go ahead.
Okay, and when they were out of town, they did not call me. I called them on Sunday. And
Sunday, what day?
Sunday was March 15th, I believe. And they told me at that point that they were out of town and that their nephew could pay me the money. I had talked to their nephew during the week. He did not mention anything about the money, and neither did I, because in February...
Why didn't you pick this up? Did you get this certified
I wasn't
mail?
at home. I had somebody staying with me due to the threats that he had said to me when I went to collect the money March 20th.
Hold on. I don't understand this. This is addressed to you. This is addressed to you. This envelope and this name is addressed to you.
I'm sorry, if the receipt...
Don't show me the receipt. That you filled out.
I brought the wrong envelope.
That you filled out, madam. This is addressed to you.
I know. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I brought the wrong envelope.
Well, that's not my problem.
I know it. I messed up. But
it's very messed up. It's very messed
the
up.
thing is, she came to our house and she refused on the 20th when we returned, and she refused.
Oh, you have no defense for not paying up for the bikes. What's your defense?
The defense that she came to our house on the 20th. When we returned, we told her we were going to pay on the 20th. She was not home. She showed up at our home intoxicated, demanded the dirt bikes back. And we said, no, Kenny, you said that it would be okay when we returned on the 20th that we would pay you. He was there. He was a witness and saw that she refused.
I want to know today, as you stand here, what your defense is. Right now, you have the 2 dirt bikes.
We had the cash to give to her.
Right now, you have the 2 dirt bikes.
The deal was that I lost a job, so we did not have to pay on the 15th. The deal was that we could pay.
The contract does say the 15th, but she said she'd work with us. And
we'll work with us.
I want to know, you're standing here today, what is your defense for not paying her for the merchandise that you have?
That she would not take the payment when we tried to
Well,
take
what
it
do
to
you
her.
think she's doing here? To check out my makeup?
She wanted the bikes. She wanted the bikes back.
She wanted the
Her
bikes back.
ex-husband returned, and he wanted the bikes back. She told us
I
in
didn't-
February
I
he
don't-
wanted the bikes
Hey,
back.
I mean, thick. Are you people just thick?
We offered her the payment on the 15th.
What defense do you have today for keeping the bikes and not paying for them? The fact that you're annoyed?
We attempted. We had the money. We want to pay him. We want to pay her. We wanted to pay it.
Oh, so
And
you
she
want to
refused
finish?
it. Yes, we
That's
wanted
what-
to make every payment on time. We wanted to make the payments early.
Fine. Well, you didn't make your payment on time. All right. So right now they owe you $1,500 on the dirt bikes.
On the
now,
dirt
just
bikes?
what?
On the dirt bikes, I want the return of the dirt bikes. I don't want the money. I want the dirt bikes because
That's not the deal. You're getting your $1,500 back. I don't care what you want. You made the deal. Now, you have some other repossession fees. I want you to show me where you paid a bill for repossessing the dirt bikes.
I have not paid anything yet.
Good. Then you don't get
I have
that.
an invoice.
Then you don't get it.
Even with the invoice saying, because I still
No.
have to pay it.
No, I don't want it. But I'm curious, when did you hire somebody to repossess the bikes?
I think it was around April 9th.
You have that on the invoice?
I don't know. I think the invoice is just dated the day that they sent it to me. June 1st is the date of it.
No, not interested. Take it, throw it in the garbage. They didn't get the property.
But I still have to pay the money.
That's your problem, if you're going to pay the money, and I don't think you are. So far, they owe you $1,500. Now, you want to get to the last part of your lawsuit, which is defamation of character.
Yes, ma'am. I was the assistant leader in a Girl Scout troop. She was the leader, and both of our daughters were in it. And on Friday, March 20th, is when I went over there to get the dirt bikes. And then Saturday is when she sent an email to all of the parents, to the girls in the Girl Scout troop, saying that I was no longer going to be the assistant leader.
Let me see.
I had not resigned.
Just want to see what she says in it.
I have mine also if you want to compare the two.
This is not defamation. She says, as some of you know, I am needing an assistant to help me with the troop. Kenny no longer will be the assistant, so I need help ASAP. She doesn't say anything else about you.
I was forced out of the group by her when I had sent.
I don't care.
I had talked to the.
That's not defamation. Show me something that indicates that she defamed you in some way, madam.
Okay, because of that email, I found out about that email, and I had called corporate Girl Scouts, and then they came in, and at that point she had said, well...
Don't tell me what you said.
She said it to...
They owe you $1,500. Now I'm going to entertain, in 30 seconds or less, your counterclaim.
She kept calling counsel over and over again. They were just
Don't tell me
irritated.
what they were just...
And she told them that I...
You can't tell me what she told them. That's hearsay.
I have the letter from the counsel.
I don't
she
care
told
if
them
you
that
have
I
a
stole
letter.
money.
Just a second. I don't care if you have a letter from counsel. I don't read letters from counsel. Letters from counsel are hearsay. You have anything that she wrote?
Oh, I have the letter that she sent
to
all the girls. Well, she sent it to counsel to send it to the girls, and saying that I told them stuff, which I didn't. And then the letter from counsel says that she had me investigated for stealing money.
I don't care. That's hearsay. Do you understand?
That she had me investigated for stealing money?
That's hearsay. Okay. This is not defamation. She's saying that I understand that Tammy Cavan has communicated with you by email or in person about a week and a half ago that I had quit the troop. That's not what she said at all in her email to the troop that you gave me. She just said I will be needing a new assistant and Kerry will no longer be. She didn't say you quit. Show me where it says you quit.
I have the resignation letter.
I don't have it.
I didn't ask you anything.
Okay. Do you still have that email?
You have that?
You still have it? Kenny will no longer be the assistant
leader. That's what
leader.
it says. She will no longer be. She doesn't say you quit. And it's all a matter of semantics anyway. It's nonsense, ladies. You owe her $1,500 for the dirt bikes that you have. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
26-year-old Ebony Dean is suing the mother of her late husband's son, Taishra White, for the cost of her stepson's orthodontist bills.
Miss Dean, you were married to the defendant's former boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And your husband passed away recently. They had a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
The child was primarily living with you and your husband at the time of his death. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time he was about 13?
Yes, ma'am.
How old is he now?
13.
13. This is your lawsuit. While he was living with you and your husband, you got braces for him.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he needed them.
Yes, ma'am.
And you took out a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
In order to do that. Your husband is no longer here. You want his mother to take over the responsibility of the rest of the loan.
Yes, ma'am.
And to that, his mother says she is not responsible for the loan because she never signed the loan papers.
Correct.
Okay. Can I see any paperwork that you have from the dentist?
Yes. This is the recommendation to get the minor braces due to he had a...
Just a second. Let me read. I can read it. So this was the referral that was done in May 21st, 2007.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, was he in fact living with you? Or was
yes,
he was living with you and your husband?
Yes.
Okay. How much was the total bill?
The total bill was $3,000 some odd dollars.
Your Honor?
Yes.
If I could say something, please?
Yes.
About the recommendation and the dentist bills and all the records, I have never seen any of that.
Doesn't make any difference.
And about the...
You paid. I read your answer. You paid, according to you, what you thought you could pay, which was $800.
To keep the peace, Your Honor.
I don't care whether it was to keep the peace or not. It has really nothing to do with the loan, Miss White. It has nothing... Listen, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with the loan. It has to do with your responsibility as a parent to give your child whatever necessaries your child needs.
Your Honor, I understand that completely.
No, you don't. I don't think you do at all.
Your Honor.
Just listen to me. Who are you?
I'm her husband.
It has nothing to do with you. Judge, listen to me. Has nothing to do with you. This is not your child.
Yes, it is.
Has nothing. No. It has nothing to do.
He is my child.
No.
He stays with me in my house.
I don't care whether he stays with you.
Listen
to me. It has nothing to do with you because you have, at this point, no financial responsibility with regard to the child's dental care.
I do, too. He's in my house. I'm married to her.
Listen, this is not a discussion that you and I are having. We don't have discussions. I'm telling you what the law is. You have no financial responsibility for the child's braces. You don't. His mother and his father have a responsibility to ensure that the child gets whatever necessaries the child needs. Now, as far as the plaintiff is concerned, I'm telling you what the law is. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with her obligation under the loan. She is suing you because the child who required braces, because I must assume, and if you don't think that's true, you can sue the dentist for malpractice. Mm-hmm. The child that I must assume needed braces as a necessary, just like food, clothing, shelter, medical care, that's a necessary. Put him out, please.
I just had a question. Mama,
I don't answer your questions.
Medi-Cal pays for them. He is on medical.
You're not paying attention.
Yes.
You want to talk instead of listen. Just as your husband has no financial obligation to this child, absent a showing that the state is paying any money for the child, neither does the plaintiff. When she was his stepmother, she took on that responsibility because I assumed that the child's father couldn't get a loan in his name. She assumed that responsibility while she was married to your former boyfriend. She was the child's stepmother. She is no longer the child's stepmother. A situation that came very close to home because I understand that you don't think that she should have any visits with him.
No, that's not true.
In any event, you are responsible, Miss White, for necessaries for your child.
Yana, can I say something? I haven't
Yes,
been
now
able to
you can say
anything.
something.
Okay, Malik had Medi-Cal at the time. Now, when you have Medi-Cal, there's certain points that you have to, come up to with your mouth for them to say that they can have them. Well, Medi-Cal denied him because he didn't have enough points. So
Right.
Medi-Cal said that, he didn't need them.
Let me ask you this question, ma'am. You think you're a good mother?
Yes, I'm a very good mother.
Well, then I want you to think about this. Because he didn't have bad enough teeth to qualify for free braces, do you think that that means that the child didn't benefit from having braces? That requires a yes or a no.
No, but I mean, could you let me talk a little
No,
bit?
I want you to. You think that these people put braces on your child
No,
because he didn't need them?
That's not what I'm saying, Your Honor.
Then I want you to tell me what you're saying. Do you think
Okay.
that his father and his stepmother obligated themselves financially because they paid for a substantial part of this loan
I wasn't
back?
involved
I'm
in-
speaking. Because they wanted to torture him?
No, Your Honor.
Do you think that they put on the braces because a doctor, a private doctor, said that your son could benefit from having braces?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, please let me say something, please. I'm begging you.
Go ahead.
The thing is that I wasn't involved in the process at all. When they told me about the loan and everything, they had already did everything.
Fine.
They didn't.
It has nothing
I
to
could
do
have
with
went
the
and got a
loan.
second
Excuse me, Your Honor.
opinion.
Put your hand down. No.
I could have went and got a second opinion. We could have went somewhere else to try to get something that we both can afford. I have 3 other children. I wasn't involved in anything. It was all about a control issue. Oh, we're doing this. Here, you pay this. Involve me in something.
Listen
and
to
then she
me
wants
carefully.
me to pay all of it.
Listen to me carefully. She wouldn't have come here if the child's father was still alive.
No, she wouldn't.
No,
have.
just listen to me. She wouldn't have come here if your child's father was still alive. If she came here, I would have said, listen, he's a parent, just like she is. You obligated yourself to pay for this. Child's father, he pays for it. But she has no responsibility to pay for the necessaries for your child.
She's been paying half all this time.
It has nothing to do with the loan. You're not understanding me. Your head is fixed in the loan. It has nothing to do with the loan.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it through to you. You don't understand. These braces are necessaries, just like you give your child breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
And as the parent that's left, you are responsible in the law for all the necessaries of this child. All of them. She's not responsible anymore for anything with regard to this child. You are responsible for everything, having nothing to do with the loan. The only reason she had the loan is because of her husband. You are responsible for your child's medical and dental care. And there's an outstanding balance now of $1,127. That's your responsibility. And if
All
your
of it?
husband, all of it, all of it.
So she didn't assume responsibility in paying half of it?
It's not her. No, it's not her child. It's your child. It's your
So
child.
she can go out and get a car, and he totaled it, and here you pay it because this is your child, without consulting me at all.
No, a car is not a necessary. Put your hand down. A car is not a necessary. If your child, however, needed an emergency appendectomy and they took the child to the hospital and there was a $20,000 medical bill and the child's father died, you would be responsible for the entire $20,000 medical bill because you are his mother and you are the only surviving parent. And whether they consulted you and you could have gotten the appendectomy cheaper or not, it doesn't make any difference. It's your responsibility. You are his mother, not hers. So it would have been his father's if he was alive, but he's gone.
Wow.
That's the law. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,127. Thank you, Your Honor.
23-year-old is suing Tiffany Johnson Cross for crashing into her car in the parking lot of their apartment complex.
Why didn't you have insurance on your car? I didn't have insurance at the time. I didn't even know that it lapsed. I had a change of address put in, and my insurance was not mailed to the address that I was residing at. So once I spoke with them, I didn't know that the date was up.
Let's go back, Ms. Cross. Where were you living?
I was living in Forest Park, and then I switched. I'm now in an apartment at Fairfield, but they didn't know that.
Do you have a lease where you're presently living?
Yes, I do.
When did the lease start?
It started in the end of November.
Of 2009?
Yes.
And on what date did your insurance lapse?
My insurance lapsed on 2/19/2010.
Go over there and show me where the accident happened, because each of you claimed that the other caused the accident that we're talking about, and this was in your building. Go over and show me what you were doing.
I was driving.
She was behind you.
Yes.
And she acknowledges she was behind you, because I read your answer.
Yes.
You were behind her. Go ahead.
I was driving down. I was trying to turn right into my parking spot.
Do you have assigned parking?
No.
So you go where there is an open spot?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
I was turning right into my parking spot when she tried to go around me to the right, and which led her to coming, hitting my passenger door and fender.
So she went around you on the right?
Yes, ma'am.
And where those lines are, I assume there were
these lines?
Empty spaces?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you can step back. Now you go over, Miss Cross, and show me your version of what happened. You're behind her.
Yes, I was behind Miss Carly, and she turned to the left. These spaces here were full. It was 9:30 at night. There were no spaces right here. She turned to park to the left. I proceeded to go past her because she did a complete left turn. When I proceeded to pass her, Miss Coley, I guess she may have saw another space, and she wrapped back around to the right, and she hit me.
I'd like to see pictures of the car. I want to see pictures of your car. You hit her. She didn't hit you.
No, the damage to my car was more than that, but because of the apartment place we live in.
You hit, I'm looking at her car. You hit her car with the front of your car.
No, the damage is actually on the side. If you look at the other pictures, it's actually on the side of my vehicle, and that's on the corner. It's not in the front.
Middle of her car.
Where is
front
that? Because I didn't
of
hit
your car.
I didn't hit the middle of her car. I hit the front of her passenger side.
Perfect. It's exactly what I said.
No, I'm not saying that I hit her. What I'm saying is that's where our cars collided.
Listen, Miss Cross.
Yes.
I know exactly what happened, and you had no insurance. Did you ask her to report the accident a couple of days later so that you could have your insurance reinstated?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
And it wasn't because I didn't have insurance. At the time, I didn't know that it had lapsed until I called to talk to my insurance company, and then that's when they told me. I immediately reinstated my insurance.
Go
I
ahead,
did not
Ms.
hit
Coley.
her car. She hit me.
Go ahead, Ms.
Your Honor,
Coley. No, you hit her. That's why we're here, for me to make that decision. I can see from the pictures you hit her.
I don't see how you get that from the pictures.
Listen, you want to look at them? You can. But that's what my job is, to look at it, to look at that, to listen to the story, and to make a judgment as to whether or not you were trying to get around her because you were trying to exit and she was trying to park. I don't think you were trying to get her parking space. I don't think that
No, I don't even live over that area.
Only one attitude here, and that's mine. You weren't trying to get her parking space. You were probably trying to exit. But you hit her car because you couldn't wait an extra 2 seconds for her to pull into the spot.
No, I could have waited. She turned left with
listen
no
to me.
signal.
You can't talk over me.
No, I can't.
That's what the pictures show, that you hit her car. That's what the damage to her car show, that you hit her car. That's what the damage on your car shows, that it was the front of your car that hit her car. It's exactly what she describes in here, that you went around her.
How did I go around her if she turned to the left?
Okay, can I see your estimate, please?
What's the actual estimate right there?
You still living there?
No, ma'am.
When did you move?
I moved at the beginning of April.
Was your lease up?
No, ma'am.
Why did you move?
I moved because I had 2 jobs. I lost my main job because of the fact they shut down, so I moved back in with my parents.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,954. You count the claims dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Cheryl Wills says her estranged son-in-law, Richard Sharp, owes for half the cost of his wedding. Richard claims he need to pay.
What is all that stuff?
This is stuff that I brought that I don't have actual receipts for, just to show you that.
What is it?
It's the Unity candle, some table decorations that we made, the candle stands.
Bert, could you do me a favor? Could we get rid of that? I don't need all that stuff here.
Where do you want me to put it?
I put it on the floor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, take this stuff, put it on the floor, please. Thank you.
Perfect. Ms. Wells, this is what the case is about. Mr. Sharp is your soon-to-be ex-son-in-law. He and your daughter had a very short and unpleasant marriage, and it is your claim that he had agreed to pay for half the wedding. The loan lasted longer than the wedding.
Correct.
Now they're going to get a divorce, and you want half the cost of the wedding, which was, you say his half was $7,000?
Correct.
Mr. Sharp says, listen, I never agreed to pay for a big wedding. So, Mr. Sharp, this I assume is your soon-to-be ex-wife?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were the two of you dating before you decided to get married?
4 months, Your Honor.
What?
4 months.
And whose brilliant idea was it to get married?
Mine, Your Honor.
Could you speak up
Mine.
a little bit? I'm old. I have...
Mine. Mine.
Did you give her a ring?
Yes.
How much did you pay for it?
I want to say about 200 and maybe 34 bucks, 40 bucks.
What kind of work do you do?
I work for Sun Cruise Casino and a gambling boat.
And how much do you earn a week?
I make 8, but I bring home like 7. 700.
A week?
Every 2 weeks.
Okay. When your daughter came home and showed you the engagement ring and told you that Mr. Sharp had asked her to marry him, what did you think?
I didn't approve of it. I didn't like it because they didn't know each other that long, but...
Well, that's a good judgment on your part. When you saw the engagement ring that he bought your daughter, what did you think of it?
I didn't have any thoughts. I mean, I
Did
thought...
you think that he wanted to get her the best possible engagement ring he could?
That he possibly could,
listen,
yes.
Listen to me. Did you think that he wanted to get her the best possible engagement ring he could afford?
Yes, I did.
And he spent $230 on the engagement ring, which was the best he could afford, right? That's what you thought.
I didn't know how much it cost him.
But it wasn't. We're not talking about the Hope Diamond here.
No.
Now, who wanted the big wedding?
Richard did.
Did you?
Yes.
Why?
At the time, I was in love with her. Then after we got married,
Listen to me, Richard. You didn't take any snoozy pills this morning, did you?
No, ma'am.
I want you to listen to the question. Your mother-in-law says you were the one who wanted the big wedding. Is that true?
Yes.
Who was supposed to pay for it?
She was.
Your Honor...
Shh! Why was she supposed to pay for a big wedding if you wanted it?
So
Do you want to take a nap?
No.
Who is this?
My stepfather.
Step up here with him. Tell me your name.
Frank, Your Honor.
Frank what?
Enoch.
Mr. Enoch, do you understand my question?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Wells wants your stepson to reimburse her for half the wedding. Ordinarily, I would say, listen, that's ridiculous. Usually, it is the bride's family's responsibility to pay for the wedding.
Your Honor...
I'm speaking. My father and mother paid for my first wedding. They paid for my second wedding. And then my father said, the next one's on you. However, you see, I'm having trouble communicating with your stepson, sir, because I'm not quite getting the fact that he's wrapped too
He's
tight.
nervous, that's all.
He doesn't look nervous, Mr. Enoch. He looks tired. Are you nervous?
Not really.
I can try harder.
I don't think you'll be able to make me nervous.
Do you understand what I'm saying
I
to you, Mr.
understand what
Enoch?
you're saying. There.
So Miss Wells says he's the one who wanted the big wedding. I don't know why. It's usually the bride that wants the big wedding. You didn't want a big wedding?
No, ma'am.
Step up here with your mother. Why did he want a big wedding? He had a whole bunch of friends?
When he was working at the car lot, he was inviting people he didn't even know that would come and make a payment to our wedding.
I want you to tell me what happened when you started to discuss the cost of it.
We sat down, and me and my mother explained to him, we don't have this kind of money. We don't even know these people. If it was, if it was some people he knew, then fine, but he didn't know these people.
So what did he say?
he said, well, I think they should come anyway, and I'll pay for half the wedding since it's mostly my people that I want to come.
Is that what you said?
No, ma'am.
How many people were at the wedding, Mr. Sharp?
There's about 120, 140.
How many people were at the wedding?
73.
Of the 73 guests, how many were his family and friends and how many yours?
60 of them was his.
You mean you had 13?
Yeah, because we not from Florida.
60 were his family and friends?
Yes.
And 13 were your family. Is that right?
Correct.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
How many were your family and friends?
My family was 5, and there was maybe like 3 or 4 friends of mine.
Your Honor, I have the wedding pictures. I also have the kind of people that you're dealing with. This is public record.
I don't need to see the kind of people that I'm dealing with. I just have to try to figure out whose responsibility is to pay for this fiasco.
Fiasco is correct.
These pictures?
Now, let me take a look at the wedding pictures. Miss Wells, is this your only child?
This is my only daughter, yes.
This is your only daughter?
Yes.
You should go around the desk praying 3 times, get down, kiss the floor, and say, thank God she got out when she did.
You're correct. I agree.
Because you don't have any children with him, do you?
No, ma'am.
But for the grace of God, you could have had a grandchild fathered by this guy.
No, thank you.
I agree with you.
No, thank you. Really.
Unless he's hiding,
thank you.
Unless he's hiding something from me that I don't see.
Well, you're not missing much.
Okay. Who's in this picture? Can you see it from there?
Yes.
Who's in this picture?
That's me, Jack, Bill, Terry.
Who are they?
Friends of mine.
Friends of yours?
And the one guy, Jack,
Just
I
a
used
second.
to work
You
for
said
him.
3 or 4, so that these are the only people at the wedding that were your friends?
There might be a little bit more, but other than that.
Who are these people?
That's my stepbrother, and that's her stepfather.
Okay, so you got a stepbrother here.
Yes.
Was he in this picture too?
No, ma'am.
These people come with their significant others, or they come stag?
They came with others.
With others?
They came with their
So you got to do
wives.
this times 2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's more than 3. Even you could tell that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, it's clear to me that he had certainly more than 3 or 4 people at the wedding. So what you're telling me is he said to you, these are the people that I want at the wedding, they're friends that I work with?
Not friends that he works with, but he was working at a car lot, and people that would come in to make their payments that he would talk to just to make their payments, he would invite to our wedding that he did not know.
Your Honor, I had to finally put a stop to it because this list was like 300 people.
Who was supposed to pay for all these people, all these strangers?
I felt that I was going to pay for them, but as soon as she said she put a stop to it, I said, okay, never mind then.
All right. Now, where were they married?
At the Ramada Inn.
Had you taken the Ramada Inn before or after you had this discussion with him about inviting too many people to the wedding?
I'd already talked to the Ramada Inn, and then when he kept adding the...
No, I want you to make sure you give me the honest answer. You had gone to the Ramada Inn, you have to give them a deposit and reserve the date.
Correct.
Had you done that before you had the discussion with him?
Yes, but he kept adding to the list.
You don't have to repeat it. I understand what you're saying to me. So you had already taken the hall, and initially he was not going to pay for half the wedding. That's according to what I'm gathering now. It was not until after he started adding all these people.
No, Your Honor, that's not correct. He agreed to pay for half the wedding.
No,
we went to the...
I was there when it was discussed.
No, I don't believe that, Miss Wells.
But that is
Listen to me. Miss
No.
Wells, I don't believe that. I don't believe that
true.
somebody who buys a $230 engagement ring makes a knowing decision to pay for half the wedding that, according to you, cost $14,000.
I wanted them to elope. I offered to give them $2,000 so I didn't have to pay for this big wedding. He had already agreed to...
Now you want to talk to me?
Yes.
Good. Now I'll hear you. But make sure you're telling me in a loud, clear
I
voice.
did not agree to pay for half of this wedding, Your Honor.
Well, tell me what happened.
What happened is I started adding people to the list, and she said, no, I can't afford all these people to come, Your Honor. So I said, okay, well, we'll stop all them people, because who even knows if half of them people are going to show up.
Your Honor, that's not right, because I even paid for his probation. He was supposed to pay me that back as well, and he has not even done that.
And her daughter paid her back out of that with her income tax money, Your Honor.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is you were on probation, you had certain fines,
Yes, ma'am.
and she paid your fines
With her income tax.
because you didn't have the money.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how could you reasonably expect him to pay $7,000 for a wedding when he couldn't even pay his own probation fine?
We paid his probation off so he could get off by the beginning of February for our wedding.
You working?
Yes.
Pay your mother back for this wedding.
No way.
Pay your mother back for this wedding.
I've paid her half of the wedding already.
I don't believe that he agreed to pay you for half the wedding.
He didn't, Your Honor.
I don't believe that.
Your Honor, he did agree to pay for that wedding.
Do you have that in writing someplace?
I don't have papers for that.
You should. You're dealing with someone who is a convicted felon. It would seem to me if someone agreed to pay.
Your Honor, he goes to church every Sunday.
I'm speaking. I have to come up in my mind, if he agreed to pay you, which I doubt, but let's say he said, I'll pay for half the wedding. Any legitimate and reasonable expectation that this person who spent $200 for an engagement ring and couldn't pay his probation fines was going to be able to pay for a $14,000 wedding. What was the nature of the felony that you were convicted of?
Sales and possession.
Sale and possession of what?
Cocaine.
How many times?
Twice.
2 different arrests?
Yes.
That means you got caught twice.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you sold only twice. It means you got caught twice.
I got caught twice.
Well, then you are smart.
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty smart.
Well, not pretty smart for selling drugs.
But you were pretty smart. You did it a few times and you didn't get caught, right?
I should have done it at all.
I asked you a question.
Yes.
Just a second. Don't tell him what to say, Mr. Enoch. I think he understands me pretty well, sir. I think he's keeping his cool, because I don't think that with this kind of act, this young woman would have said yes to this proposal.
Your Honor, can I say something, please?
Go ahead.
He goes to church every Sunday. We thought that he was reformed. I mean, you're supposed to give everybody a chance. And that's exactly what we did. We believed him.
And the reason that the wedding wasn't, it is because he moved in with his girlfriend that he had before we were married.
No. Your Honor, this lady, my soon-to-be ex-wife, she thinks I am sleeping with this girl, Melissa, okay? Me and Melissa ain't together.
Ma'am.
She would not sleep with me because I am married to this young lady here. And I got to respect that.
So you've asked her to? Listen to me. I just wanted to hear him talk, because so far I've had monosyllabic conversations with him, and I wanted to make sure that he was more together than he was presenting. I'm speaking. More together than he was presenting to me a moment ago. I do not believe that he agreed to pay for half the wedding. It's unfortunate. And my advice to everyone out there is, don't spend an awful lot of money on first weddings. Wait for the second one. They usually hold out a little bit better.
Your Honor, he
I'm sorry,
did
Ms.
agree.
Wells. So I don't believe it. That's all.
Audience are excused. You may step out. Benjamin Graham says former friend and landlord Lark Bowman stole belongings from his home when he went to jail.
Mr. Graham, according to the complaint that I read, you rented an apartment from Miss Bowman.
Yes.
When did you rent the apartment from her?
The summer of 2004.
July or August?
I'm not sure of the date, Your Honor.
When did he rent the apartment, Miss Bowman?
In the fall time of 2004.
Do we have a month?
Yeah, it was in November, actually.
Does that sound right?
That sounds about right.
And then, according to you, Mr. Graham, you were incarcerated for a period of time, and you claimed that Miss Bowman stole some of the property that was in your apartment when you were there. Ms. Bowman says she did not do that. She says that your friend Gail, with whom you are currently living, who lives in the apartment complex, she took your property. She has no knowledge of your property. She did take a couple of things that she says she had loaned to you when you moved in. Those were bookshelves.
Correct.
And what else?
And a desk.
And a desk. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things that you indicate
I had many other things there that belonged to me, but I did not take them.
Bookshelves and a desk were the only two things that you removed from the apartment.
Correct.
Now, Mr. Graham, when were you incarcerated?
On the 22nd of May.
How long were you in jail?
40 days.
For what?
Drug paraphernalia possession.
What items do you claim that Ms. Bowman took from your apartment?
Couch, 2 couches, bedroom set, laptop computer, a variety of miscellaneous electrical items. I'm an electrician.
Like what?
Lights, ceiling fans, outlets.
You mean that weren't in the walls? That
Not
were
in the
just
walls.
there?
Yes, just there. Yeah.
So, tools of your trade. What else?
I had a variety of things that I had a list of, and unfortunately I didn't bring the list with me, but it was...
All right, Mr. Graham, what proof do you have that Miss Bowman, who denies that she took these things from your apartment, what proof do you have that she took them?
Well, besides the fact that my friend and neighbor was there when it was being taken, I also have some photos, Your Honor, that the neighbor who lived in the apartment across the driveway happened to take.
I'd like to see them.
Yes.
Who has a blue truck?
Nobody I know.
The truck is purple, Your Honor.
Purple truck.
My brother.
I'm going to ask you some questions. I better get a reasonable answer. Your last name is?
Bowman.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 39 years old.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a painter.
Of houses?
Houses. I do maintenance. My sister owns rental properties.
So you work for your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you employed on an annual, or does she pay you periodically?
Periodically, hourly.
How long have you worked for your sister?
Here in the last 4 months.
Prior to that?
I worked as a forklift operator, supervisor.
You took your purple truck to Mr. Graham's house that he was renting, and you and your sister removed certain property. Is that correct?
My sister had called me at the end of May.
I have pictures. I just want you to know that I have pictures.
I
so let's
understand.
not play with each other.
Yes, ma'am.
I asked you a specific question. I said, did you go to the house and remove certain property that was in the house that Mr. Graham was renting?
The property that belonged to my sister.
The house that Mr. Graham was renting?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
What property did you remove, sir?
There was a desk.
You'll be very careful.
Computer
Desk.
Yeah.
Go
Shelf.
ahead.
Old lamp.
A lamp.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
There was a few boxes, miscellaneous boxes.
Boxes. Say nothing, Miss Bowman. Boxes. What about tables, sir? Did you remove any little tables?
Did
you remove any little tables, sir?
Not that I recall. I didn't. Gail was there with her truck too. In the process, I
I'm
was.
talking about a purple truck.
Yes, Your
That
Honor.
would be yours.
Yes, it would.
What color is your truck?
Brown.
Did you remove any upholstered pieces from the house, Mr. Bowman?
No,
you
Your
know
Honor.
what upholstered pieces are?
Rugs, upholstery.
I didn't say rugs. Rugs aren't upholstered pieces, sir. I'm talking upholstered pieces, usually chairs and sofas.
There was one sofa.
One sofa. Let's just get there. One sofa.
One sofa.
All right, so you removed a sofa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there were some boxes. How many boxes were there, Mr. Bowman?
I would say 2 to 3.
And with your hands, show me how big the boxes were, sir.
I would say the boxes were that size.
What did you do with the boxes?
The boxes got thrown in the garbage along with the rest of the kitchen utensils, all the food that was spoiled and rotten.
Where did you throw them?
Right there in the alley, in the garbage.
I'm asking you about the things that you put in your truck, sir.
Yeah, them items, them boxes, all was garbage. We were cleaning the apartment out to rent it out to another tenant while Mr. Graham had been in jail.
What did you do with the sofa, sir?
The sofa went down to our uncle's house, who said that he was going to use the sofa, which was...
Just answer my questions. I asked you what you did with the sofa. Sofa you brought to your uncle's house. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you do with the lamp?
The lamp was also with my uncle.
2 little end tables. Those go to your uncle's house, too, with the lamp?
Yes, Your Honor.
See how easy that was, Mr. Bowman?
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down. You got my drift.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'm 10 paces ahead of you, Miss Bowman. Your brother has just indicated, marginally, that your uncle has been the recipient of largesse in a sofa, end tables, and a lamp that we know about. That is not a desk and bookshelves. We understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
These photographs don't show a laptop computer, fans, tools, and other stuff. But, Miss Bowman, you took more out of his house than the desk that you let him borrow and the bookshelves. You know how I know that? Because he told me so. You lied when you told me that the only thing you removed from the house was a desk and bookshelves.
I didn't stay the entire time, so I don't know what else was there.
You lied when you told me that the only thing you removed were desks and bookshelves. He works for you. He is your employee. Anything that he did is attributable to you. He is your agent.
Gail, when I went in, Gail said, I'm going to pack up all Benjamin's stuff. Whatever's left there, I would have to go out to the dump. We moved 2 couches out to the dump.
Listen to me very carefully, madam. That could have been something that you told me. That you took. I'm speaking. That you took other items from the house, but you took them from the house because they were not being used. your uncle would have put them to good use, so you took them because he was in jail and Gail told you to. You could have told me that. That's not what you told me. You told me that the only thing you removed from the house was a desk and bookshelves. And that, madam, was not true.
I didn't witness them taking anything else. I just asked about the shelf and the desk. And I've got pictures of Benjamin's car.
I'm going to explain something to you from my perspective.
Okay.
You're not telling the truth. Now, I could say that in many different ways. You see how dry-mouthed you get when you lie? When you lie, your mouth gets really, really dry, Miss Bowman. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all. Step out.